Welcome back to Digital Trends Live, broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope. And part of our great show here that we bring you every day are some interviews. And we have Ben Lee. Ben was actually going to be on one of our very first shows. We had some difficulties. We brought him back now. We've got Ben joining us from Rootstrap. Hello, Ben.
Hey, thanks for having me this morning.
Thanks for hopping on. So Ben, let's talk about Rootstrap. What is it? Let's walk through the whole process, what you built with this, and then we'll get into talking about brand building and everything with that as well.
Sounds good. So Rootstrap's been around for the last 7 years. The model is really to act as a co-CTO or help innovators, industry leaders develop ideas. Some are technical people, some are non-technical, building an app for the first time, realize there is an opportunity in the market for, disruption and digitizing content, for example. So that's kind of what we do. We've had over 1,000 product launches since we started. So, the business is good. There's definitely demand. Everybody needs an app in some respect. And we try to get better and improve with every launch and release we do.
I think that's great because you're right. I mean, that's definitely a big thing if you're launching a product to have that technical know-how to know what you need to do when it comes to that side of it. It's too much. That's too much to know, and it's nice to have somebody to probably go to that would know how to handle that. How did you get started in this? Like, why did you want to launch this company?
Sure. A lot of it was raising several millions of dollars in real estate deals. 2008 happened, which forced me to pivot out of the career that I was in. So I learned front-end coding. I built a startup, launched one, sold one, got quartered into working into more enterprise software. For me, being able to work with hundreds of founders every single year, it gives you kind of social x-ray that you don't get to see through even a venture capital fund, because we're sort of the initial point of contact for people who want to develop ideas. And in some ways, hiring a company like me to tell you why you shouldn't build an app is sometimes more valuable and generates a bigger ROI. Because the first thing that most people think nowadays in 2018 is, oh, I need to build an app, but maybe you need a website, or maybe you need a game, or maybe you need a lead generation form, or some other form of like an MVP.
Right.
So, I think getting to work with all, entrepreneurs from all walks of life, I think, is what really inspires me.
I think that's a good point. Like, maybe an app's further down the list of what you need as a company rather than jumping right in. And that's why it's nice to have, probably somebody that can be an expert to turn to. And you've worked with a lot of different brands. I mean, yeah. Like you said, so many different ones that have launched. Like, what have been some of the highlights that you've worked with so far?
Yeah, I think some of the work that we're really proud of is helping someone like Tony Robbins, who's probably one of the biggest motivational business coaches in the world.
Yeah.
And he had been struggling to build an app for 6 years. So he had worked with, multiple different teams and vendors, was building an app for like over a year and a half when we met him. So we really injected our process, taught them sort of the agile way, helped them transform their development and IT culture, and launch their app in 13 weeks. So taking 39 years of his content, distilling it into an app in 13 weeks was really a fun challenge. We do work with Google. We do work with startups like Masterclass, where we play kind of an extension of their team. Good talent is hard to find in 2018. Talent is globalized, so it doesn't matter if developers are in Argentina or Uruguay or Russia. If the talent is good, there's going to be jobs and there's going to be needs for it. I think in terms of professional services, it's also really exciting because most people don't really know what to expect in the next 2 years. With AI and all these things that are happening, the need for talent is getting higher, and there's sometimes hard to maintain these cultures internally. Everyone thinks it's as easy as hiring 2 developers and having them run in your office. It's not that easy. You really need to transform the way you do business in order to support engineering teams, and that could take a while. So that's why for many brands, large and small, it makes sense to trust a team like ours who've done a lot of that heavy lifting in terms of developing that engineering culture and know-how.
It probably helps too. I mean, just to because you're right. I mean, we don't really know where things are going in the next couple of years. It seems like every few months something else is different. So to maintain that agility, to be able to adapt to what has the changes as they come, would be a great advantage, probably for any company or brand. Let's talk about Neon Roots and that, and let's talk about maybe just how you build a brand. Maybe we'll go from that, like just from the base level. How do you build a brand? What's like some tips and tricks?
So you're going to probably think this is funny, and this is, if any of my clients are listening or tuning in, they'll remember and hear me say this often. But when you're building a product, when you're building an app, branding is the least important thing. It really is secondary. It's why we try not to waste too much time in the beginning stages, because it's really about finding product market fit. Nobody really gives, they don't care about what the name is until there's brand equity developed. They want to know, is this going to make my life easier? How is it going to deliver value? Is it a cheaper alternative than what competitors are doing currently? So we try to eliminate the branding exercises until a product has been validated. Then it works. Then it's worth going through those exercises of, picking out your favorite animal and mascots and things that are sometimes very subjective when building a brand. That really investment can only be made, though, again, once you've found product market fit for an app you're building, which means that you've got something that there is a need for, and the problems you're solving, and you can scale those solutions rather. So I would say that's really it should be step 2 or step 3 for any entrepreneur in the roadmap, not to waste too much time on it. Once you're building a brand, figuring out the easiest way to connect to your audience is the key thing. Everybody talks about, social media influencers and, social media in general. And while those things are great, oftentimes there's just too many vanity metrics tied to them, and they're not really translating to ROI or, an authentic voice to say. So what I like to do is stick with something as simple as email marketing. Email marketing gives you a direct channel. Algorithms won't affect it. Your brand or your voice won't get sort of twist and turned by comments and other issues that social media sometimes create. So building a list starting with 100 people and growing that is sometimes the best way to just get the word out and start testing new ideas.
That's a great idea, actually, just kind of going back to that base level of that. So say a company wants to come to Rootstrap. What should they have in place before coming to you? What would you ideally have in place?
So believe it or not, one of the most important qualifiers for us in terms of determining if someone's going to be a good fit and we're going to be able to work with them is how the founders come together and how aligned they are. The idea and the vision is totally secondary because ideas evolve a million times once a product starts. I'm sure Uber's initial idea was very different than the execution when they launched their V1.
Right.
So finding the right team members who understand that, who are collaborative, who do inspire, who can agree on things, and most importantly, have one product owner. This is typically a founder or like a product manager who us as a development team, we're accountable to. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, startups don't make that decision. There are too many founders. They're all stepping on each other's toes. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. So nobody knows who to take their marching orders from. So that's the prerequisite for us in terms of making sure you've decided within your organization who we're going to be working with and how that structure will work. And, making sure that you guys are going to be able to collaborate well, because this is, partnerships are no different than, marriage or other personal relationships. It takes time, and oftentimes there's a lot of tension and there's a lot of heat, especially when the pressure's on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on it. I mean, this is somebody's baby that's becoming a product, and you're walking through it, and you need to be able to take the good and the bad and take suggestions or give suggestions where it's necessary. Asking you just on a personal level, since you're involved in these apps so much, what app do you use the most right now?
Good question. Blinkist, Amazon has been a big one with Cyber Monday. Just kind of lurking on that. LinkedIn is definitely an important platform for me in terms of lead generation and business development. Headspace for yoga. What else do we got? LastPass for password management, Wunderlist for productivity. I could go on all day. But yeah, those are probably my go-tos.
Nice. Well, Ben, thank you so much for hopping on here today to talk about this too. So what's the best way for people to follow you, and where should they go to find out more about what you do and what your company does?
Yeah, probably the best way is check out my book. It's recently launched, first100.yobenlee.com. We made it to the front page of Hacker News. We've been trending at #2, also
Nice.
trending on Reddit. So it's free, download it, teaches you how to acquire your first 100 customers in any business, especially digital ones. And there's more information there on how to connect with me.
And say the name again just one more time. So
it's first100.yobenlee.com. YOBENLEE.com.
Nice.
First 100.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for hopping on to talk about this. We really do appreciate it. And best of luck with everything. I'll be downloading the book to read it myself.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben.